that time, the only time you could hear it was only on the radio, because there wasn't any bands that would play it up here. So I kind of started playing with whatever band I could come up with, or that would take me in. And I got to play with a lot of good bands. Los Brillantes, way back then, Los Tejanos. They also a band out of Grandview with Robert Elizondo. Back then, Robert was a little kid, I guess, but he was pretty good at that time. He was just coming on to the music business, and he did really good. So we played together for several years. La Realidad was another band that I had the honor to play with, and I think that's where I cut my teeth into more orquestal, music orquestal, which is what I like. And right now, I just feel like the guys here, we're like the dying breed. We're keeping the Tejano music going because it's in our blood, and we like that kind of music. And to everybody who's listening, first of all, again, thanks for tuning in. All you guys that are coming up and wanting to learn to play accordion, guitar, bass, or keyboards in Spanish music or Mexican music, hey, keep doing it. Keep our culture, our music, keep it going, because it is our culture, it is our music, and we need to keep it going. And for right now, during this COVID thing, that quarantine, me and the rest of the guys, me, Danny Castro, and DC and the boys, we've been working hard at the studio, kind of trying to get this music all ready for when we get to go out and play live or at the dances. We'll definitely be ready, or hopefully we'll be ready by then.
So, being a worker that works every weekend, what's Thursday through Sunday, how did it affect musically in the minds of you guys, the musicians? How did that whole year of break, were you guys coming up with songs at home, or different styles?
What we did is we started thinking of new music, changing music, getting more into more modern music, diferentes pisadas, and just try to play the same music but in a different style where people would really enjoy it. And not only that, but we started to mix for example, Somewhere Over the Rainbow, we put it in a ranchera, and it sounds great. So we started doing that kind of stuff, and hopefully the people that listen to it, hopefully they'll really like it. And that's just one of the things that we try to do, just to keep people's interest, and to show them that Tejano music is very versatile.
Right. So, can you say you recrafted your style during that break?
Well, you have to keep the interest in the music. You can't be playing the same thing over and over and over and over. It's just like if you go and put on a CD, your favorite CD, and you only have one CD, and you play it over and over and over. No matter how good the music is, pretty soon you get tired of it. You say, I really don't want to listen to it that much. So you want something new. And every time you hear something new, you want to go to a next level of something new again. And that's what keeps you going. I really believe that most musicians that are really interested in music, they keep going because they want to learn even more. And there is no end to music. So you can never say, well, I've learned everything there is, I don't have to learn anymore. Because there isn't. Music is like numbers. You put a number at each end of that number, and it's a whole big different number. So same thing with music.
Right. So for the younger generation that is listening right now, what would you tell them? Because I think this COVID taught a lot of musicians who were used to working every weekend how not to perder, el ánimo. Yeah. What would you all say?
Well, I would just suggest keep trying new stuff, new material. Listen to other genres también, because you can mix other genres with Tejano music, because Tejano music is so versatile that you can add different styles, and it still comes out, sounding like Tejano, which is really, really interesting. And a lot of Tejanos, especially from Texas, they're being that creative for incorporating different genres into Tejano music, and it sounds really really good.
Right, right.
Eric, you touched a little bit on the younger generation, and what we're trying to do right now is, for example, at this point, I'd like to mention some names of people that have influenced us as well as a lot of other up and coming musicians, people who have been here with us and they're gone now. For example, Lupe Guzman, locally here, he was a big influence on a lot of us. You know, Jimmy Gonzalez, and another one, Jesse Serrata, sin faltar, Esteban Jordan, you know. And for those, I mentioned those names so that these young musicians coming up, they can look them up and read their story, so
Right.
that they can get an opportunity to know what we feel, how we felt when we played along with them, alongside with them, or you know, played their music.
Mhm.
So, and then there are other great musicians with us still now.
Right.
You know, for example, Juan Barco. Um, he's a great musician and a great songwriter. A personal, very, very personal friend of mine, Ruben Loredo, de Houston, Texas. And over in Houston, there are a lot of people that you know, they can influence everyone with their talents. You know,
Right.
another thing that we're also doing is we're introducing old songs into new styles, so that people can have the opportunity to listen to "I Left My Heart in San Francisco" in another kind of way, okay, and another style, all right, like we did with "Over the Rainbow."
Right.
I was just mentioning the fact that, like for example, Blue Velvet. You know, who doesn't know Blue Velvet, right?
Right.
And yet we're working on that to present it in another style, so that you know, you can have both styles or whatever other styles may be. And so the music never dies. You know,
Right.
you have to keep it going.
Yeah,
Right,
and
Joe?
right now as you're talking, I have Te Traigo Estas Flores that y'all did on your Raíces album, EP.
Yes.
That you guys did a wonderful job there. I even heard good things from the people in Texas and the people who wrote that song and sang that song. And yeah, it's real good. It's real awesome what you guys did there.
Yeah, well, that's, you know, that's very, very, very good to hear. I was, you know, especially enthused, and we recorded Anhelos, una canción de los Aguilares, and one of them is now gone, and yet they appreciated it so much that they contacted us right away just to congratulate the fact that we don't forget them, you know.
Right,
We
right.
keep them alive.
Yeah, saludos a Emilio and Naro, Aguilar, Roger Aguilar, toda la familia Aguilar. Yeah, they really loved that, what you guys did with that track there. That brings me to say, so with when you guys are going the direction, we're not gonna find a remake of Intocable, or we're gonna hear Elvis Presley you pulled out,
we worked,
or something like that, right?
We worked on Sueña, or Sueño, right?
Yeah, swing.
And it came out pretty good, you know. It's not, it's like I said, it's trying to keep it alive so that folks can have an opportunity to listen to it, especially the young and upcoming musicians. And before I don't want to forget this, but I do want to mention the fact that my compañeros que están aquí conmigo, I love them. You know, I love them because we respect each other, uh, and we, you know, we take from each other. You know, whatever you want to call it, love, talent, respeto, everything, and and uh, and that's what it. Like I said to begin with, the music is universal. It unites people, unites musicians. Este, Más antes me acuerdo yo que había uno que otro grupito que, pues que yo soy mejor que tú y tú. No, no, no. No se trata de eso. Se trata de trabajar como hermanos.
Claro. You know, and I'm glad you say that because yo, siendo el más joven de todos, okay, I grew up with my uncle, always that mocosillo. Hey, tío, are you gonna play this weekend? I'm ready to work I'm ready to wrap up the course. You know, I just wanted to go. But I grew up. También eso, pero I mean, allá está la sniper, so cuidado. No, no, I remember growing up, and I grew up around Los Somos Sonantes. I grew up around Freddie De Leon, you know. I grew up with all these musicians. So in my lifetime growing up, yeah, I had friends in school, but they weren't my friends. My friends were going the weekend with my uncle with those musicians. Those were my friends, you know. I grew up knowing them. And then I come back from Texas and I see like an ultimate drought in the music where there was a huge camaraderie in the musicians and the brotherhood at one time, and then to come back and it's like non-existent. How does that affect you guys? You know, how does that make you guys feel where at one time it was a booming thing, como quien dice, ¿verdad? Y ahora, pues, ¿dónde están los músicos? Is the question, you know?
Well, you know what, Eric, a lot of times what has happened, what I see is that músicos is like a family, like a big family.
Right.
Conoces un músico, you start talking about music, man, you never shut up. You keep talking and talking and talking. And you get to know that person because they have the same interests as you do. That's what it has become up here in Washington también. Pero what is going on right now is a lot of these musicians, they're gone. They passed away or whatever.
Right.
They're gone. So we kind of filter each other. And, you know, and the more that we start missing these other musicians, you know, it's like a pool. It starts getting smaller and smaller and smaller. But there's always the same musicians are always together. Like us here, we've been with other bands. But even throughout all this playing with other bands and things, we still keep in communication with each other. And whenever we get an opportunity to play or jam with each other, you know, we do it. And that binds the camaraderie back again. So it's, you know, it keeps on going. And hopefully we can keep going for a while longer, you know.
Right.
You know, I think you mentioned earlier COVID. What did it do? Yeah. I think for me, I think for us, for probably other musicians, it made people focus again. I think you had a year of time off. You couldn't play gigs. So they started, you know, there was a lot of Facebook concerts, you know, that they were doing allá de Texas. And for me personally, it just focused you to get back into your little room in your house in my den. And then I was bringing, like what these guys are saying, bringing up music from the past, practicing new licks, new styles, new little things, getting creative, and trying to use that time to be productive for the industry of music. It also helped me reflect. I mean, I'd go back to, like what you were saying earlier, back in the 90s when, man, we were every Friday, Saturday, Sunday, we were doing something.
Right.
And y luego de repente se acabó, you know, just kind of, I think the sonidos kind of started taking over in DJing, you know, started replacing bands and so forth. Pero La Onda Tejana, I think, kind of fizzled away when the musicianship started to move on. You know, so it's hard to find, you know, Tejana musicians, you know, a lot of the times. And the commitment, obviously having to work and make a living and so forth, occupies our time. For the young generation, what I would say is just, like I said, I've been blessed to see a lot of young accordion players. the one that pops out the most is AJ Castillo. When I think of what he's doing, that brother has recorded some amazing jazz on the accordion. Has revived I think the interest in the accordion has made it much more beautiful. You know, it's what it can be. And I think we have he's a school teacher from what I understand.
Right.
Teaches kindergarten. You know, and you know when I think about what for the young folks is don't limit yourself. If it's the squeeze box you're gonna play, the guitar, whatever it is, don't limit yourself and put yourself in a box. Get outside of it. Think outside the box and be as creative as you can to pull that instrument. And Ramon Ayala, you know, and some of them other folks that I've had the privilege of being around at times, would always say, play from the heart and let the heart be what's inside your instrument.
So, Joe, with that being said, what you were saying about AJ was influenced by Zodiacal styles,
Right,
Cajun
that's
style.
exactly.
Do you, as an accordionist, see that style changes Tejano Conjunto for the greater good? You
Yes,
know?
absolutely. I think what he and not only the different licks and the jazz influence that he brings into music, but the tuning of accordions.
Yeah.
That's why I've tuned I like the sound.
Right.
And so I have an accordion that's tuned on this estilo, you know.
Right.
But I think the fingering, the challenges on the intricacies that he does on the accordion, he's done some very, very good, it's a very good influence. Tejano music has always been about let's grab from other influences and mix it.
Right.
And that's what this industry has done. The Zydeco style has created another blend of Tejano music, you know, for us to do. Obviously, for the old timer in me, I always go back to Latin Breed and all them old, you know, the old originals, you know. But boy, I tell you, I still dabble, and todavía no estoy, estoy viejo, but I'm not that old yet where I can still grab my accordion. I may not be able to go back behind my head anymore or slide on my knees, you know. But I enjoy putting on AJ Castillo and some of the new and upcoming artists, and they're teaching me stuff that's new and I appreciate that and value that. And you know, so I always tip my hat to all musicians. Obviously, con los acordeonistas, you know, I think it's a unique instrument. I use it a lot back in my law enforcement days. Cuando estaba de policía, you know, I remember where I pulled over a guy, and that was his DWI test. Was he had an accordion in the back seat? ¿Sabes qué? Se me tocas una polquita, you can go.
Wow.
If you can't, and then he said it was broken. I go, dámela. And I started playing it, you know. And he's sitting right here. You know, so the
John,
thing
was that you, John?
So the thing is that and now we're compadres, you know.
Wow.
And I think what it did is that it brought some. I always, when I do presentations, when I'm teaching even educationally, saco el acordeón and I show it. I was in Texas there not too long ago in El Valle, and I was doing a presentation with the kids, and I saco el acordeón, and I always bring it up. Every speech that I do, when I do all the speaking, I bring the accordion up, and I share that story of how I was able to utilize algo así to work with a fellow musician under unusual circumstances, and was able to help assist him in better navigating his life. Y también, then we became, it was a friendship that lasted, you know. And the kids, when I pull it up, because I always ask them, he had something in the back seat. What was it? And of course, they always say, you know,
a
gun, drugs, algo así, una botella, you know. And then I go, no, I brought it right here. Then I pull it out, and it freaks everybody out. And then I tell them, go through the story of how we worked through it. It was a teaching moment. And now it's teaching others, but it's also showing them, que, ¿sabes qué? It's an instrument that I think carries our root. You play volver, con un baile, olvídate.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
You play those tragos amargos, you know, olvídate. You know, what does it do? I do that when I do at the school district here, when we'll do all staff rallies, y a veces saco el acordeón, y comienzo con eso, y comienza gritando la raza, right? No one else knows what's going on, que no es mexicano. But that's to me, el corazón, the root that only a raza is going to understand.
Yo, ¿y sabes por qué
Amargos.
grita la raza? Porque ese es therapy.
Therapy,
Yeah. Ese es therapy chicano.
I was going to say, because no me lavé los dientes.
No, and before we go any further, Eric, I would like to mention some names que siempre me han inspirado a mí, you know, because I may not have another opportunity. But above all, I would like to mention my wife's name, Diane Gonzalez. She supports me 110% all the way, not only con la música, pero con los burritos de chorizo con huevo y papitas y todo
Ay,
eso.
John, I've been all day in the studio. I haven't eaten yet, you know, we're here talking of food.
And another friend of mine, I do want to mention his name, is Danny. Danny Flores. He lives in Victorville, California. He and I have been friends forever. Y él es también músico también. So, y cada vez que nos necesitamos de uno al otro, we always call each other. And Rubén Loredo, ¿para qué se, para qué se le quita? Beautiful person. Mel Villarreal, del grupo de Los Únicos. Mel and I can call him and ask him anything, any favor, and he's ready, you know. I mean, I could go on and on, pero, I mean, aquí Lupe, sentado enfrente de mí, Lupe and I have been through thin and thick, you know, for years and years. And yet, here we are, you know. Danny and I, we call each other almost on a daily basis.
I know, I call my uncle and I get my phone call disconnected because Juan Gonzalez is on the other line.
And then Joe and I have been friends forever también. Joe is one of my favorite accordion players porque Joe is a perfectionist, you know, plays beautifully. And so, and I just wanted to mention that before I would forget to mention that. Okay?
Well, you guys are all a very humble group of guys. Todavía me acuerdo que cuando los miré en San Antonio, downtown, ahí on stage con Ruben, out of nowhere, I don't know how it was, you know, hey, what are you doing here, you know, taking pictures. You guys have kept together and kept the onda from Washington and have continued to make it brotar outward, and that is unique. That's unique because some people just want to stay in Texas. They don't make it, you know, because even at that, our Tejano sound, it sounds very different than what it is over there in the 210. You know, I can tell you that. 956 is different, you know.
And if you allow me, just one more name that I want to mention
Claro.
without forgetting, Noel Lerma. Noel Lerma, he's associated with the Tejano Roots Hall of Fame. Pero not only that, but he is very truly a true friend.
Humble guy,
you know,
very awesome guy.
He calls me, I call him, and we, you know, just on a regular basis, you know. So, esos son personas que nunca se te olvidan. So, just wanted to do that.
Daniel, we got to hear from you. What now? Because I know you're in the studio 24/7. You have a dream. You call me. Hey, what do you think of this, sobrino? Tell us.
My mind's always going, Eric, is to, you know, this pandemic, you know, we've been talking about it, was I'm used to going out there and jamming and being just there. Just, what do? I sit on my keyboards and an idea comes and I start with it and I play along and then I take Sabor a mí, La Mentira, stuff like that, you know, and like I say, Tejano just changes things.
Then what would you say to the person that is going into the music, but yet doesn't have the mind open? Like, for example, La Mentira. I know in my younger years, I'd be, come on, Theo, that's a boring song. What would you tell that person, you know? Because your mind, I know when you hear a song, you hear it like this, but it comes out something completely different.
It's a tough question, Eric, because it's the individual, it's the mind, you know, it's how you grow. It's what you put together in your mind, and what your mind needs to focus is what are your fingers going to do? What's the next chord? You take the structure, you make it grow.
That's something growing up with you I learned. You know, everything's about structure. Just like Joe,
It is.
perfectionist, my Uncle Daniel is the same way, you know, structure. And we got into a couple of heated discussions because of not knowing the difference between structure and this and that. And I thank you for that, you know, because I would not know the different types of what music is music and what isn't, you know. When you show your craft in these songs that someone might, like myself when I was starting out, you know, it's not gonna work, you know. And we've ran into several people who have said, that doesn't sound right. But Daniel Castro always finds a way to put it.
Definitely. You have to give it an opportunity, Eric. You asked me, what was it, reloj?
Reloj.
Reloj, and it was like a turnoff. What do you mean, Eric? And I didn't want to listen to you, and I sat down one day on the keyboards, and it hit me. Okay, I better listen to Eric, and I started playing with it, and wow, I said that. Now I understand what he was trying to tell me, and it came out. It came out really nice.
What I've learned is that, you know, it's like an artist.
Definitely.
You all are an artist, okay? What you paint with that brush, only you can make it happen. They can tell you, but if they tell you, it ain't gonna come out the way they're saying it, the way you're seeing it in your head. That's what I've learned through you, you know. So now, when I used to have this closed mind, when you call me, hey, you just called me an hour ago, hey, you know, what do you think of this? You know, oh, okay, yeah, all right. You got something. Because I'm already at what I grew up listening to, you know. There was still Danny and David making all this noise in the back, you know, of the house, but always guaranteed something was going to come out of it. And the same thing with you, Joe. I mean, the accordion, I mean, that's an instrument of its own. I mean, God, that's a monster. Pulling out music, you know, when they tell you, when you heard it another way and you're like, no, I'm feeling it like this. That puts you in the zone. What would you tell that one person that has a close-minded, you know, mindset, you know?
Well, I think what I would recommend is that obviously I would not want to try to disrespectfully say anything to someone who, if that's the world they're in, that's the world they're in. But what I would invite to take what you have in there and add to it. Add something that's a little bit of a twist, you know, because I think everyone, yeah, they might be close-minded, but they still have a dream. They still have something. Now, how can you take a step? And it goes back to the influences. And I think of the young kids that come in and want to play. One accordion player wanted to learn música duranguense. That's what he wanted to teach. Guy didn't know how to play accordion at all. Nothing. Couldn't even open the accordion box. And so he was 18 years old. I had to learn how to play duranguense music to be able to teach him. So he would give me the music. I'd learn it, then I would teach him. And during our conversation, he was closed-minded just to duranguense music. And then as he was coming in, he would listen to me. I was doing some crazy lick stuff, you know, some jazz stuff on the accordion. And then he'd say, oye, ¿cómo se hace eso? And I go, well, you do it like this. Well, then next thing you know, he's integrating it into his duranguense band. And then they go, oye, soy poco suave. Where you learn that? And then, well, this guy's teaching me son cosas tejano is what he calls it. And so next thing you know, he's blending some of that new music that came in. I didn't have to say much to him. I had to show him. I had to show him but you know, you're closed-minded. I valued that and taught him that. But then he heard the other side of it, and he was able to create a whole different sound for his band. And now he's recorded his CDs, you know, with that new version of Duranguense. And so I think, you know, yes, we can be open-minded, but when someone has a call, I think of like Ramon Ayala, that's his music. That's it. That's all he does is that style. Los Dos Hilbertos. I'm grateful for the Dos Hilbertos. I love their music. I have a Dos Silbertos accordion that I have tuned just like theirs.
Mhm.
That's their genre. But I also know that both of them have influences that are outside of that they are very skilled into doing. But that's their choice is to do this genre. So sometimes I believe they integrate it and open up. But I would encourage any young musician, whatever the instrument is man, be creative. Danny Castro would be, to my opinion, I think he is one of the ones that's the most innovative. He'll take a song and he'll, I'll listen. I go, like he said, reloj, and I'm thinking, what? Just like in Selena, what she said. But he'll take it and he'll create something, crazy different. And I think it's that crazy different that we're trying to create now to hopefully show individuals that thinking outside the box really is what creates a style. It creates aquel Jaime de Anda, years ago when I did some work with them. He said that he was told, man, you're a great accordion player and you imitate everybody. But what you need to do is you need to have a signature. What is your style? You can be here all day long playing accordion like everyone else plays, but they're hearing that already.
Mhm.
Until they hear a song, they say, oh, yeah, ese vato, that's Jaime de Anda. They can tell just by your style. And he said that really triggered him into creating a sound that's his and unique. Now I can listen to a song and I can immediately tell, hey, that's Jaime playing. That's Salceda playing. You can tell who's playing just by those styles. Now, for me, I still like blending, mixing with everybody. I don't even know if I have a style of my own, but I just mix everyone together, and I just say I like having fun. I enjoy what I do. I like to see people smile when they go by. They give me the thumbs up. Yeah, veces the thumbs down. No, sabes que you didn't practice last night, whatever it might be. But I think that's what motivates me is I enjoy playing for the people, for the fans. You have people that we've been blessed that we've had a following. Back in the day when we were La Realidad, we were busy back in the day. And our band members then we had Ray Rojas was our singer, my sister Carmen on the keyboards, and then my brother-in-law on the drums. And then these two guys here, Oscar and Primo on the saxophone. So we had a very talented group of people that came together and were able to play. And man, we had to sometimes influence each other to think outside the box, because sometimes we would get stuck también. But so thinking outside the box is what it's all about, I think.
Okay.
If I may, Eric,
Go ahead.
at this point, I just want to emphasize that by now we are pretty well equipped and prepared for whatever quinceañera or wedding or once this virus is over, we feel very confident and prepared that we can do just about any festejo que tengan, including those wineries that are out there hiring groups and stuff. We feel confident that we can put on a good show. Okay.
Right. Now, bringing that up, would that say you're able to cover country, rock,
Exactly.
Tejano,
Yeah,
all?
that's part of being creative is to learn different genres and not only play it, in a certain way, but you try to play it as best as you can so that it comes out sounding good, and you're not sitting there listening to the band say that song sounds sort of like whatever. You know exactly what song it is. I mean, a country western song or a rock song, because it's played in a way that you can understand what it is. It's not just thrown together and but we try to play everything so that you can identify with the music and you can also tell what kind of music it is. It's not thinking, well, I heard that song, but who does it? What song is it? You don't have questions like that. We try to play it as well, first of all, as professional as we can and as close to the original as we can get it. So that way everybody will enjoy it, not just us playing it, but everybody else would enjoy it.
So that's great. That's DC and the Boys. I have one question though. How do I find you guys? How do I get a hold of you guys? If I want you guys to play at my funeral or my boda or whatever you want to call it. Well, I call that my funeral. But
Well, actually, you go down old Highway 22 and you turn going towards Sunnyside, and then you go on Morrison Road and you go down about a half a mile and you turn to a right little dirt road and it goes up to the studio. And,
Yeah. Y entonces ahí no es.
you know,
is there a point of contact where we can get a hold of you? You guys,
contacting you would be one of them. We could probably post some phone numbers up on Facebook or
YouTube,
on YouTube.
and we can put it on here and stuff like that. Yeah, definitely.
But,
definitely.
we're itching to go back and start playing in public. I mean, musicians love to play in public. I mean, no matter who you are, that's part of the satisfaction that you get out of being a musician is to see in the face on everybody that they're smiling and they're appreciating what you're doing. Because to me, music is a way of expressing yourself.
Right.
And if you express yourself in a way that people like, it makes you feel good. You know,
And
makes
for
it
those
worth
for those that may not know, you can find us on
YouTube.
YouTube.
on YouTube. Yeah, on YouTube. You know, we got some. In fact, we came up with some Christmas music as well. You know,
Mm-hmm.
That was the first
during the
project.
Christmas season, and so I mean, hey, we had never done it, so we did it, and we enjoyed it. You know,
The views are
if I may say
tremendous.
so, Eric, you did a beautiful job with that.
Thank you. It's you guys. You guys did it all. I just put a video to it. You know, that's it. You guys did all the work. That me, you know.
But that video, it helped promote the song. I mean, it put the song and the video it kind of came together with a video that you would put onto each song. Kind of made the whole thing, made the video and the song come out as one. You know,
Right. And that's one thing that saying that I want to thank you guys for giving me the pleasure to do what I can do. You know, because nowadays it's hard to even get trust from veteran musicians. You know, because they're used to the old 1990s, 1980s way of doing things. Now with technology, you know, you don't know with the cloud, you know, me and Theo Danny, we have sometimes a long discussion before something happens, you know, because I have to go in depth and tell him, bring him where he doesn't understand, because he'll tell me, hey, you know, Sobrino, I don't mess with the computer stuff. You know, you do. You know, make sure you know everything's right. So how I know who he is, because he protects his music. Every musician protects their music, right? Well, just allowing me to be able to research that, you know, I gotta thank you guys for letting me doing that, you know, because it's hard. It's hard when you don't have the trust, you know.
Well, we'd also like to thank you because you got an excellent way of exposing our music to the public, which is what every musician wants to do, and you're doing a good job of that. So
Well, muchas gracias,
it
Lupe.
really makes us feel, you know, like we've got somebody that's backing us up. You know, somebody that we have backup there.
Most definitely, you guys got all the backup that I can bring us to. And like I said before, we have your guys' intro here that you guys, the Barrio Boys Jam, Barrio Boys Jam. So, no, we love that, and we use that for our opener and our closer, because growing up with Daniel and David, you know, I grew up with that whole Santana, Malo, and all that sound, you know, and now, my age that I am, you know, that's the guy that I am. So I'm making plans to go to Dallas to see Santana. So I got some tickets for that.
Well, bring Carlos back. Tell him he wants to come jam with us. He's welcome.
Definitely, guys. I want to touch now about DC. What the idea behind that? I mean, anybody willing to share, come on, I want to hear DC and the boys. What's the whole idea and the angle of how the music is? Because we know how Tejano sounded like. This is a whole different sound. I mean, it's a shocker because in this EP that y'all have, you have different. You got conjunto, orquesta tejano. You got all different, and then you got the original conjunto sound. You know what?
Well, I think what it is, Eric, is that it just goes to show how creative you can be, you know, and we feel good creating all these different genres because those are genres that we've been in other bands. We've played these other genres, so we get together on one band and we try to bring them all up and just sort of like spaghetti. You know, you don't know if it's cooked until you throw it on the wall. If it sticks, then it's cooked. Well, we do the same. You know, we play different genres and, you know, hey, this sounds okay. Okay, well, but that's what we try to do. Try to play as many genres as we can, play them as good as we can, and try to make music interesting and try to make music enjoyable for people that want to dance or people that just want to sit there and listen, you know, whichever way they want to do it or whatever it is that they want to do. And I think that's what keeps the interest going in the music. Well, in this band, it keeps us going because we're learning different genres or we're playing different genres, and that keeps your mind, you know, advancing and keeps you learning more stuff. And that's what musicians like to do.
Okay, la pregunta del millón. We are right now in stage 3. So we go to stage 4. I go to your guys' show. What am I going to find? Am I going to hear what I'm listening to Raíces EP?
You would probably listen to maybe 1 or 2 of those songs, but there's so many songs that we have that's just the tip of the iceberg. That's just things that we threw on just so that people would know that we're around. But that's not all the music. I mean, there's stuff that's been recorded lately that people haven't heard, that we haven't put out yet.
Awesome.
But yeah, you would be surprised that this isn't the only music that we play.
So, otra pregunta con esa. There's another album that we need to look out for, or?
I think there's enough music to create, about 2 or 3 albums more?
Definitely.
At least.
Yeah.
But that's why I'm saying that what you're hearing now or what's on Facebook or what's on YouTube, that's only the tip of the iceberg. We just threw them out there just to say, hey, people, we're still alive. We've got music going on, and this is just a little taste, a little bit. It's like when you go to a restaurant, they give you a little hors d'oeuvre or something to taste while because you're hungry, you want to eat. So they give you a little something just to keep you from dying of hunger. So that's why we're trying to throw little bits of music out there. So just to let people know, hey, we're still here. Come check us out. As soon as there's a dance that we're playing, come check us out.
In going to your show, podemos decir que va a ser una sorpresa.
Definitely.
You don't know what you're going to get.
Yes.
Como decía Forrest Gump,
Yeah.
life's like a bunch of chocolates. Yeah.
And you know, and for the benefit of those that may be wondering what CD or DC stands for, no, it's not District of Columbia. Okay? It means Danny Castro. Danny Castro is, you know, hey, he's the brains of the operation. And I say that, you know, with all my heart because this man puts so much time into it.
Right.
Time and effort.
Effort and professionalism and, you know, perfection, you know. And so he deserves all that and more.
I guess we can say that that's why he's choosing not to talk because he's thinking of the next song, guys. He's thinking of the next song.
But you know, Eric, and I say this, you know, with all my heart, this man is not. He's not selfish. He's not. I'm the man. I'm the brains. No. Very, very cooperative. I mean, the most cooperative man that I've played with, you know, for a long, long time. And I say that with an open heart. And so I feel, you know, lucky. I feel fortunate that I met him, I know him, and I'm working with him, you know. So
Well, the stars definitely aligned when you guys got together and started producing this new content that is coming out. It has given a birth to our music genre of the state of Washington a whole different face, you know. I remember when I got the phone call late one evening. Hey, guess who called me? JJ. What?
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, he's got this idea, this and that. And it's like, well, you know what? I can't wait to see it, you know, because I remember, see, being downtown San Antonio, I wanted to see the JJ I grew up listening to. I was hurt, you know, because I listened to your music and you were holding back. You know, this when I grew up watching you, I'm like, this is the best accordionist here, Washington State, you know. And that day, I don't know if you were feeling sick or you were like kind of distant, you know. And I'm like, you know. But definitely, I can't wait to see what you're gonna put out on this stuff, on this new album, you know, because I want to see a little bit of that accordion in the back and doing all that bit. Otra, I'm gonna have a question for you, for the sake of the musicians growing in the younger versions. But let's say I'm a little bit young, but I'm a little bit old. ¿Hay remedios para mí aprender el acordeón?
No, I think
At my age?
you can learn. Yeah, absolutely. I think, you know, as long as you can count to 8. That's what I tell you. If you can count to 8, yeah. I got a number system. That will teach you. If you can count to 8, y si no puedes, we would get you a tutor. To get you going, pero here is the thing I would say. What can people expect? Probably the thing that in my opinion that's going to be are a group of guys that came together, and what you can expect is to see heart behind what it is that we have, history of what it is that made up each of us in the years, combining that heart and the passion and the talent to create something that our hope is that people will enjoy. We're going to smile. We're going to enjoy what we're doing. And our hope is that, there's going to be the normal traditional songs that people want to hear to dance to. But there's also going to be us. You're going to hear those songs done a little bit differently. I played with La Realidad probably all my life, is with my sister and with, the band there that I grew up with. And it's going to be different. Some of those songs we might play here, but they're not going to have the La Realidad sound. They're going to have this sound. It's going to be something that's a little bit different now. But at the end of the day, what each one of us brings, I believe, is a heart and a passion for Tejano music, that we're there, humbly to present something to people that ojalá que les guste, the holding back that you're referring to is finding the right niche, finding the right group of people to be playing with.
Right.
Finding it and then connecting. Back in La Realidad era, we have been together forever. Right. But we would just look at each other and we could wink and we know what the next song was going to be.
Right.
And then that brings out this, se inspira uno, that's when, next thing I'm doing this and going that, jumping around, spinning, and I think when you connect that way, now it's starting to happen again.
Awesome.
And I think so, the holding back, I don't need to hold back anymore because I think the accompaniment there. Mm-hmm. Ya saben, we're gonna be able to pull it together, so my fingers can let loose a little bit more.
Awesome, now, awesome. So we are gonna see you dance.
Well, hey, I got to lose another 15 pounds. Back in the day, I was a lot thinner. So.
Well, definitely, guys. Gracias por venir. I had been weeks saying we're gonna have DC. We're gonna have DC and the boys. We're gonna have DC and the boys here. You guys made it possible to come by today. I do know that there are a couple events coming up. Can we expect to see you on any of those events?
Well, we're waiting to be called and say, hey, you guys want to come out and jam? Hey, yeah, we're there.
I did make a mention to the Michelada Festival people. She wanted to see your guys' material, so I'll be sending her material of you guys later on this evening.
So,
Pop-up performances, because as of right now, I know the state has this on a hold that we can't, but pop-up performances, they don't have a bar on that. Are you guys ever gonna like be somewhere at a drive-in theater or I don't know, a restaurant outside? I don't know, or probably at Daniel's studio making some noise out there. I mean, what do you guys?
that's a good question. Yeah.
Well, we're trying to do whatever it is that we need to do as far as playing in public. I'm sure we're all willing to do that. And the bigger the event, the better it is. And I'm looking forward for the summertime. I love playing outdoors in the summertime. Hopefully, by summertime,
blues.
yeah, there you go. Hopefully, by the summer, all this COVID thing is over, and we'll be able to have dances like we used to. And there's nothing like jamming out there on a warm summer night, and everybody's having a good time. And that's our guacamole, how they say.
Yeah.
You know?
Right.
And one thing guarantee, Eric, is that you will always get our respect and our good service, because people deserve good music, you know, and our respect. We are not going to play one this way, the other one this way. We're a team, you know, a group.
Yeah, that definitely shows here. That definitely shows here. There's no question in my mind what you guys have put out. I mean, when great minds get together, I mean, wow, you know, it's an explosion effect. You
Not
know,
only that, but it's a lot of fun. I mean, we enjoy. I mean, it's a lot of fun when you play with musicians that everybody's putting in their 110%. You know, you're not having one guy just sitting there and not putting his 2 cents in. You know,
that's a gig right there. That's a gig right there.
Is that Paramount Studios calling us again?
Oh yes. Another question. Okay, we've discussed that you guys are bringing a lot of the olds back, but is there any originals being produced right now or thought of?
I think that's our next project. You know, original stuff. I think that's the next project. We've been so busy trying to get material ready so that if we go play, we've got material ready to do that. But I think that now that we've gone through that phase, our next project would be to get original stuff and start putting original stuff out there so that they can say, oh yeah, this is DC and the Boys. I know their style, or I know their music, and that's the next step that we want to take.
So right now they are able to find you on SoundCloud, TuneIn Radio, YouTube, Facebook. Okay. Is there a website ever gonna be?
We're probably thinking about getting us a web page so that we can start getting our fans to,
Awesome.
our would-be fans, put it that way, to start communicating with us and, you know, keep track of us.
All right. Well, I'm sitting at an hour interview here, guys. I'm a little bit over, but I definitely want to bring you guys back, and if we can work it in, because I know we're all on different schedules. So definitely, I would like to cover more in depth of what you guys are doing at the current moment. Music videos. Are you guys can we see music videos in the future?
Thinking about doing some videos with our original music.
Awesome.
So maybe next time we come in here with you, we can bring that the original stuff and kind of.
Awesome. Pues, nevertheless, guys, aquí tienen su casa, Barrio Boyz TV. Always welcome whenever. Even if you want to talk about, I got to definitely do a sit-down interview with you, Joe, and talk about, you know, the accordion, because that is an interview of its own whole thing. Maybe
I'll bring my 6 accordions.
Yeah, I was gonna tell my wife over there, give me the iPad so that way we can start learning something here. You know what I'm saying? No, but definitely, I want to have y'all come back. And like I said, aquí tienen las puertas abiertas whenever you want to come over and chat. We'll arrange something. Just give me a call.
So well,
My number is on this.
Respectfully, Eric, I do want to say hello, a big hello to Carmen, Zamora, y Jesse, and their group, Realidad. Igualmente que el grupo Los Emocionantes, Raúl Sánchez, Lupe Martínez, and them, de parte de nosotros, felicidades y pues ahí nos vemos en el camino.
Awesome. Yeah.
Lupe Ayala también está. So he's los dinámicos.
Dinámicos.
Exactly. Oh.
All good people. Yeah.
Thank you, Eric.
Thank you.
Muy
Gracias.
agradecido.
Thank you, Eric.
Yeah, very much.
Thank you.